2024 was such a fun year of crafting for me, and I hope it was for you too. Hey Bestie, it's Lisa. Welcome or welcome back. I'm going to use these ping pong balls, and then I'm going to take the smaller of these wire wreaths that you can get at the Dollar Tree. I've got these roses, also from the Dollar Tree. And then I've got my Ballet Slipper Waverly paint. I'm going to use some masking tape and attach it to my table so that I can stick the little balls on there, the ping pong balls. And I'm just going to start painting in sections with the Ballet Slipper all over the ping pong balls. I'll dry it with my heat tool, move it around until I get the whole thing painted. So there they are, all painted. I'm going to use my tin snips, which I did get on Amazon. And I'm going to just kind of, I'm not that strong, so I'm just going to keep moving it around until I break through that thing. It's not that hard though. I'm going to use this little pokey tool and very slowly and carefully, it's sped up a teeny bit. Anyway, I'm going to start making a hole, and I'm going to push it all the way through that to the wider part of the little pokey tool so that I have a nice hole that I can stick the wreath brass piece into. And then I'm going to figure out where I want to put the second hole, because this is how I'm going to string these on. They're going to look like very large wooden beads when I'm done. Now, I should have done this before I painted because you can see the paint starts kind of chipping when you move it around. So just a little note, if you want to do this, don't paint until you're all done. I did do some touch-ups afterwards to fix it. So there they are, all strung on the brass ring. I'm going to take my Krylon matte finish in clear and go outside and just going to spray the whole thing back and front. And I'm going to take this mop head from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to pull out a couple strands. I'm going to make a hanger first by just attaching the end onto the ring. And then I'll make the loop, and then I will start wrapping this strand of mop head around that remaining brass hoop. And the reason I'm doing that is I need a place to stick my flowers, and they just don't stay really well to the metal. See, I'm making the loop. I'm going to hot glue this down. And then I'm going to just start wrapping around and around until I get to the end of where I have the exposed ring. So there you see, it's all done, and now I've got a hanger. I'm going to pull off those roses right off of the stems, and then I'm going to pull off the greenery. I like to do that because I don't want those big stems, especially on a wreath like this. And I'm going to take my little nippers and I'm going to cut off the little pieces on the back that stick out so I can lay it flat with hot glue and attach it right to the mop head. And here you can see I'm doing that with the rose. And then I'll just hot glue that right to the center of the greenery. This is so easy. And the hardest thing was just dealing with the ping pong balls, but I'll tell you, if you take it slow and you're gentle, it's not too bad. Now I'm going to finish the rest of that side of the wreath, and look at that. I think this came out beautiful. Super easy. You could add any kind of flowers you want. You could paint the ping pong balls any color. You have to let me know what you think of this one. I've got this piece that was left over from a sign that just says family. I'm going to use my Craftwise chalkboard paint. Of course, I'm going to use that beaded round and some greenery and flowers. I'm just going to draw like how to round out the letters because I want to cut off that piece around the word family. So if I do this first, then I have kind of a guide to go by when I get my box cutter out and I cut them. And this is such a thin piece of MDF that if you just score it over and over on the lines that you drew, it'll just come right apart. So you just got to go slow and steady. And I'm only going to show you one little piece so you can see how it works. And then any edges that weren't perfect afterwards, I'll take a sanding sponge and I will sand them. Now, I got a little aggressive with the sanding and I broke the word, but I did glue it back together, and I'm going to paint it with that black chalkboard paint on both sides. And you don't really see now where I glued it. I am going to attach it to the center of the bead round with some hot glue. You can use something stronger if you want to. This is going to be very lightweight. I'm going to turn it over and reinforce on the back with some more hot glue just to make sure it stays in place. I'm going to take a piece of jute, put it through those little hooks at the top that are made out of metal, and create a hanger. Now I'm going to take some of the leaves off of this beautiful flower pick, and I'm going to take the flowers, and I'm just going to create kind of like a swag on the left side. So basically whatever I do below, I'll do the same on the top, hot glue it down. I love the color of these flowers. They are so beautiful. And once I have the flowers on, I'm going to add some leaves because I definitely want some greenery in there. So I'm going to put a couple sprigs of leaves in the center and then one at the top of the flowers and one at the bottom of the flowers. And then to cover the little pieces of the leaves in the center, I'm going to add one extra little flower. Oh my gosh, I think this is gorgeous. This was very easy, very quick, and I think it's just stunning. Let me know what you think. 2 containers of colored buttons from the Dollar Tree and a wood plank from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to sand it down with my sanding sponge. And then I'm going to take my Antique Wax by Waverly and a water mister bottle. I'm just going to spray down that plank. And I'm just going to lightly cover it with some of the antique wax. I am going to wipe off the excess because what I'm doing is turning this into a stain instead of a paint. And now I'm just going to go around and do the sides as well. I've got this twine, also from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to start measuring out what will be stems for flowers. So I'm going to do them of all different lengths. I'll do, maybe 3 or 4 longer ones, some middle-sized ones, a couple little ones, kind of whatever you want this to look like. It's going to be a bouquet of flowers, all right? So think of each one of those pieces as a stem in your bouquet. And I'm just going to hot glue them down and leave a little spot at the top where we're going to add the flowers. I'll do that. Added a few here, and now I'm going to put some more, and they're all going to crisscross at that very bottom midpoint, and that becomes where we tie the bouquet. And there they all are. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add a hanger. I'm going to use the metal connector piece of a clothespin, thread some twine through the holes, and then hot glue it to the back, and that's going to be a very nice sturdy hanger. Next, I'm going to dump out my buttons, and I'm going to start with maybe 5 or 6 larger buttons. And what's really cute is that one green one actually is the shape of a flower. That doesn't happen very often. Anyway, I'm going to pick all the different colors I want, and there are all the large ones. Now I'm going to start adding some middle size and smaller ones to fill in the rest of the bouquet. How adorable is this? I'm going to take some little teeny pieces of green, like sprigs from some pics that I already have, and I'm going to hot glue them all around the stems, and I just thought that looked so pretty. I've got this pink twine that I also got at Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to wrap it around one of my fingers about, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 times, cut that off, and then I'm just going to hot glue that to kind of the bottom part where they gather, and I want to make it look like I tied that around all of the stems. And now I'm going to make a little shoestring bow and just attach it right there. I think I doubled up on the bow just to give it a little more substance, but that is it. Tell me this isn't just the prettiest thing. I love it. What a great use for those extra buttons. Let me know what you think. Every change has a reason, baby. Gift bag hack. I've got this gorgeous floral gift bag, and then I've got this cathedral window, and then this little plaque from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to take that piece off the top, use my heat tool to get off the glue that's on there, and my little scraper tool. There you go. Now I'm going to cut the bag big enough to cover this little wood plaque. I'm going to use some Mod Podge, just spread it on there. I'll do it in sections and then apply the piece of the gift bag. I will use my brayer to make sure that it is adhered perfectly to the surface, and then I'll do the rest. Now I'm just going to trim off the excess. I'm also going to go in a little bit deeper with a sanding sponge and go around the sides and make sure that it's a nice clean edge. Now that that's complete and you can see the beautiful edges, I'm going to place the cathedral window on top and see exactly where I need to add the glue on the back side. So I'm just going to take the hot glue, put it on those spots that I know are going to make really good contact with the little plaque. Now once the glue's on there, I'm just going to place it face down on the back. And I love this because what you see through is the beautiful florals from the gift bag. Now I'm going to take some greenery. I'm just going to make like a little swag and put 2 pieces, one on each side. And then I'm going to add some little leaves in the middle just to cover up those stems. And the last thing I do is just take this beautiful flower. It was from a pick from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to glue down the little leaf part first and then put the flower right in the middle. This turned out so beautiful, so easy, and it already has a hanger on the back, so that sure does make this easy to deal with. I love this one. You'll have to let me know what you think. It might be my favorite from today, and let me know if it's yours too. Trivet hack. I've got a round trivet, got some different colored rocks from the Dollar Tree and marbles. I've got some starfish and sand dollars, some seashells, and some other rocks. So this is going to be kind of a beachy theme. And I want to show you the little legs on the bottom. On this one, we're going to keep them. So I'm going to start by putting the kind of beige colored marbles on and the white. We're going to start with like the sand on the bottom. I'm creating like a beach scene. And then after we get that on, we'll add some of the white, and then we'll put the clear, and we're moving towards like the ocean water. So it's like sand, foam, sea, if you will. So we'll kind of add the clear ones in, and then we'll add some turquoise looking ones, and then we'll add some darker blue ones, and then we'll add a little bit of green just to show like different colors of the waters. So there it is. I think it's beautiful already. And we've got all these little gaps between them. So we're going to put the little white rocks in between on the bottom there. I'm just going to fill each of the gaps with the Aleene's Tacky Glue and then pour the rocks over and kind of push them down. It'll take a little bit to dry, but it does dry and it comes out just gorgeous. So here we are, just pouring the rocks on, rubbing them down. And of course, a lot of them will fall off, and that's okay. Then I'll put them back on in the spots where I still see glue and just keep repeating that until I get all of the little holes filled in with the rocks. And then I'll tip it on its side and kind of let the excess ones fall off. And then that way we'll make sure if I see any holes that I need to fill in. I'm going to take the blue ones and do the same thing with the upper part. So there it is. They're all finished now. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, what a nice way to fill them in. So I'm going to take one of the starfish. I decided I'm not going to use a sand dollar on this one. I had them both out just in case. But we're going to attach a starfish. We're going to pick a seashell or two that I really like, that I think will be really pretty on here, and attach those towards the sand. I just wanted to add a little extra, accent to it and give it more of that beachy look. Some of you know, because I've mentioned it before, but my bedroom is decorated in a coastal theme. So this will end up in there. But I love that theme. I don't want my whole house to be like that, but I just love having one room, and especially the bedroom keeps it very peaceful. So these are all just going to get hot glued on with a lot of hot glue to make sure they're very secure. And of course, you can use E6000 or super glue, whatever you want. I think this one has turned out gorgeous. It might be my favorite today. You have to let me know what you think. It was actually very easy and quick to make because it just lays flat, so the glue will just dry as you're going. So let me know what you think. Candle holder hack. I've got another one of those glass candle holders. Those are actually my favorites. And then I've got this cute little mini tea set. Isn't that adorable? A friend gave it to me. She was going to give it to the Goodwill. I said, no, give it to me. I'll craft with it. And I love the gold around the edges. So I'm going to take some Rust-Oleum metal gold looking paint, and I'm going to paint that whole candle holder and just dry it off, move it around, paint the rest of it. And then I'm going to paint the back of that plate completely. It was just white with the gold edging. And I think that looks gorgeous. So now once I get it all dry, I will attach these to each other and create a gorgeous riser. Now I have a coffee bar station, but I drink tea, so I thought this would be cute to decorate with. So not just the coffee stuff, but tea as well. I'm going to use my Fix-All adhesive, and I'm just going to kind of go around the outside of the top of that candle holder with leaving some gaps and do the Fix-All, and then go back in with some hot glue and fill it in. And that's going to be how I get my immediate hold and then my really solid longer term hold. So there you go. And now just placing in the center, that is always a challenge for me. I don't think that I see very evenly, so usually it doesn't get right in the center. I think I actually did pretty good this time, so yay. And now I'm not going to glue on the little tea set because I do want to have the option of putting other things on here. I will put a couple of little greenery picks. These are from Amazon, just some, I think they're eucalyptus. And then I'm going to add one flower, but I want to make it a little smaller because the regular size of the flower is just a teeny bit too big for this. So here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to pull off the back of the flower. It usually comes off with just a little bit of effort, and I'm going to need that again when I'm done. And then I'm going to pull off several of the petals to get it to a smaller size. This way I don't have to cut and try to make it look perfect. See how it is? There's so many layers. And then I'm just going to put that end piece back on. And then I can just set it down and it'll be the right size, and I'll clip off that excess of the little stem. And there you go. And none of that is glued down. That way I can change it out seasonally or do whatever I want with it. And I love this one. I think the gold looks stunning. I absolutely love it. And it just matches so well with the little tea set. You could do this with anything you want. It doesn't have to be a tea set. Dollar Tree contact paper hack. I'm going to take this wooden round from the Dollar Tree, which is super cute just the way it is. But I'm going to use the back side. I'm going to cut off the carrots. We will use the carrots, just not on that part of the sign the way they did it. This way we'll have a two-sided sign. How's that? We won't waste it. I'm also going to remove the hanger for while I'm doing this. And I'm going to sand down any of the rough edges from where those carrots were stapled on. Now I'm going to trace this circle onto the back side of this beautiful orange and white gingham contact paper. I love this one. And then I will cut just enough, to get rid of the large pieces, because we can just do our little sanding trick and go around the edges once it's attached. It's so much easier than trying to place something very perfectly. I have trouble with that. So we'll just take off the top part and start carefully removing the bottom and smooth it out, and then just pull it all the way across. And there I go, sanding off the edges to get that nice clean look. And there it is, all ready to go. And there's the other side of the sign if we did want to use it. Now I'm going to poke a hole back where those holes are to get the hanger back in. And you can't see it, so I wanted to do it real quickly, make sure I get that hanger in there, because I love the beads on the twine for a hanger. That is such a cute thing. And if you didn't have one already, they're so easy to make. Now we're going to place our carrots on the bottom. I'm just going to position them where I want and then hot glue them in place. If you didn't have the carrots, they would also be pretty easy to make out of foam board, or if you have a wood laser cutting machine, you could, or possibly find some at the craft store. I've got this placemat, and I'm just going, I think this was from Dollar Tree as well, and I'm just going to cut out the part where it says, enjoy the little things, and I'm just kind of make it a nice little shape to fit on the sign. Couldn't make a perfect circle, so I just kind of rounded the edges of a little bit of a rectangle. And I'm just going to hot glue that right to the center of the sign. I thought that was really cute. And I think that the color in the background kind of complements the greenery on the carrots. So I thought that matched really well. Now I've got this really cute little white greenery. I got this at Walmart. They really have great greenery. If you haven't checked it out, you really should. The prices are really good as well. And I'm just going to put that around where the hole is for the hanger on both sides. Just kind of dress up the top a little bit. And that is all there is to this one. It was so easy. You do have a double-sided sign now. And I just love that contact paper. You'll have to let me know what you think, and if you would want to try something like this. Crate hack. I've got this crate, and it's got some really cute little, like almost seashell shaped designs. And I'm going to take this truck. It was from the fall from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use my antique wax, and I'm going to paint that all over this entire crate. Now I'm going to use it as a stain, so I'll paint it on, and then I will wipe it off with a paper towel so it's not quite as dark. And you can still see the little bit of wood grain, and I'll do the whole thing. Now that that's done, I'm going to take a straight edge and a black marker, and I'm going to draw two little lines and fill them in. I want it to look like slats. It's going to look like the back of a truck, the truck bed. And so I want it to look like it's made out of wood and it's got slats in it. And I'm going to do that around the sides as well. Now I'm going to remove the hanger on here and take off that metal leaf, because obviously it's not fall. We don't need that. And then we're going to paint the front side with this white paint. It's kind of an off-white. Cover the truck, and then we'll do the wheels in the black paint. Then I'm going to take a black marker and kind of draw the outline of parts of the truck that you want to see. And then I'm going to take my steel gravely paint, and with like a stenciling type brush, I'm going to dab it on so it's not a solid painted color. I just want it to kind of have that metallic look a little bit, galvanized look. I'll do the bumper as well. Then I'm going to take some silver metallic paint that I have, and I'm going to paint the two mirrors on there with a regular paintbrush and just do a couple coats to get them to look more silver like a mirror. Then I'm going to touch up a little bit of the white on the inside of the window and where the license plate's going to go on the bottom. I'm going to take a red marker and I'm going to make two lights, one on each side. I wanted to give it a little more character and just make it look a little bit more like a real truck. I used the white chalk marker to make the other lights up above the red lights. I wanted to write Farm Fresh on the license plate, so I tried this yellow and it just didn't work. So then I used a little bit of a brown marker and I still wasn't thrilled, so I went over it with a black marker. I should have just started with a black marker to begin with. You know what? Live and learn. It's okay. You know, sometimes you just have to adjust as you go. I'm going to add the hanger back minus that leaf that I had taken off. I'm going to use a combination of Fix All adhesive and hot glue to attach what will be the bed of the truck onto the back of the truck is what we're looking at. And I love it. I love this look. It'll be so cute hanging up. You can add floral foam. You can add flowers. I'm going to add the foam and some lemons and some lavender. I love lemons and lavender together. I think it's just a gorgeous combination, and I love it for summer. I placed the lemons at different heights. They're slightly different sizes. And then I'm going to add the greenery in there as well. I just want it to look like it was all kind of thrown in to the bed of the truck. And I realized that one lemon is ginormous. I realized that. Then adding in that lavender, and to me, that just finishes it off, and I love it. And I've got this hanging in my house already. That's how much I like it. And I am so excited about it because I just think it makes me happy every time I see it. You'll have to let me know what you think. Do you love this idea about putting like a crate on the back of a little truck cutout from Dollar Tree? I think it's adorable. Let me know what you think. Star-shaped bowls at the Dollar Tree, and I thought, what a fun idea for like a 4th of July project. So I'm using this blue acrylic paint, I'm using my white chalk paint and some red acrylic paint, and I'm going to make them, you know, one of them red and white and one of them blue and kind of white. So I'm going to first tape off the top and bottom of the one so I can paint the white in the opening. But first I'm going to remove the tag using my heat gun from Amazon, and of course it's in my Amazon store, and most of my tools are there that I've gotten from Amazon in case you're interested. And now I'm going to paint downward from the tape on both sides, downward from the tape, because I don't want anything to bleed. And so I'm just going to do that, and then I'll kind of go touch it up. While that's drying, I'm going to put the blue all over the outside of the other star, and I did like 3 coats. I'm going to add the white chalk paint to the bottom. I don't know why, I just felt like it needed it. So, and you're only going to see it through the glass, so you don't have to make it look perfect. I'm going to take the tape off, and actually it came out pretty well. I didn't have to do a lot of fixing of this one, so I have to say that really helped to go the like paint down from the tape and not across it. And you can see there's just a couple little spots here and there. So what I'm going to do is take my X-Acto knife and just kind of scrape off the excess, because there wasn't that much, and that really doesn't take very long, and it's super easy to do. So there's a little hack for you. Now I'm going to take the red, and I decided not to tape the white because I didn't want the paint to get pulled up, so I just went super slow and easy with a very flat top brush, and I went all the way around. While that's drying, I'm going to put Mod Podge all around the outside of the blue and white star dish. And there we are. I put Mod Podge now on the red and white one too, so you can see how they look. But I wanted it just to have a little extra oomph, so I got a wet paintbrush that was kind of a stiff bristle. I got some chalk paint on it and I just flicked it all over. And the fact that the paintbrush was wet is what made this so easy to do. Otherwise, chalk paint is probably too thick and you'd get big globs. And I like the way this was kind of just splattery. I love that look. So I'm going to do it on both of them. And really, that's all there was to this one. It was so easy, and I think it turned out super, super cute. Have to let me know what you think. You know, it's funny, I don't always think about painting glass, but in this case, I think it turned out really well. You have to let me know if you've ever painted glass, and what do you think about this one? So I'm going to do that today. It takes 70 of the tumbling tower blocks total. We use tacky glue and hot glue, and we're going to start with 2 rows of 8. We're going to attach them with tacky glue and hot glue on the short sides, and I'm going to do the 2 rows. There they are. I'm going to sand them down a little just to get rid of any excess glue that might have seeped through. And then I'm going to take 4 more blocks and put one on each side of, well, on one side of each of those longer pieces. This is the roof for the windmill. Now I'm going to take 6 of the little blocks and I'm going to kind of create, I guess that would be what, a hexagon? Oh my gosh, I'm not sure. Whatever 6 is. And then I'm going to stagger blocks around wherever there's like an intersection. And I'm going to use the tacky glue and the hot glue, and I'm going to start gluing them together, just starting with the second row because that'll attach it. You can see what I've done there. And now I'm just going to keep going. And you can make this as tall as you want. Since I use 70 blocks, that's how many, you know, I use for the roof and that. So I got like 4 or 5 rows, I believe it. Now we're going to attach the roof, but first we need to make 2 pieces that it can attach to. So I'm going to take my miter shears from Amazon. And by the way, all the tools that I mentioned that I have from Amazon or supplies are always down in my Amazon store, down in the description box in case you are looking for something like that. I'm going to take a pencil and just draw a quick diagonal line, use the miter shears at the angle that I need, and I'm going to just clip off that corner on 4 of the pieces. It's not really a corner, it's actually like half of an edge. And then I will hot glue 2 together so that it looks like it's pointed at the top. And of course, tacky glue. And then I'm going to add 2 more pieces to the bottom of each one because I want to make it a little bit taller. The roof just wouldn't have sat quite right. You wouldn't be able to see anything inside of it. So now I'm going to attach those 4 pieces, one to either side. I'm going to add some extra hot glue on the inside just for extra security. Then I'm going to take the tacky glue and the hot glue, and I'm going to put one side of the roof on at a time and just hold it till the hot glue sets up. This tacky glue, by the way, works almost as good as wood glue, so it just makes sense, but it does dry a teeny bit faster, and it makes it easier to keep working. Of course, so does the hot glue. So there it is, and I'm going to go around with the hot glue and just reinforce any seam that I'm concerned about and get rid of my glue webs. You can put a bottom in it if you want, but I decided not to. I'm going to take my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. I'm going to water down the top of the roof, and then I'm just going to kind of whitewash the paint. Not a light whitewash, but a little darker than that. Then I'm going to use my color Ocean and lacquer from Waverly, and I'm going to start doing red, white, and blue. I'm not going to do the inside because you're not going to see that too much. I'm going to cover the whole thing with polyurethane and put some florals. I love this one. What do you think? Calendar hack. I'm going to use this Farm Life calendar, and I'm actually going to use the page of the calendar that's also on the cover. I've got this $1 charger plate from Dollar General. They also have those at Dollar Tree. I'm going to put a hanger right away before we get started. I'm just going to use some rope and hot glue and tape and put it on, very similar to what I normally do. Next thing I'm going to do is cut the cow off of this page. I'm just going to fussy cut around it so that it's as close to the edges as possible. And that's just because I don't really want to see the background if I can help it. I want it to sit nicely on the charger, which is darker than the background. Now, obviously, there's going to be a couple of little spots where you see it, but I'm not going to stress over that. You know, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. But I'll go back in and I'll snip some of those little pieces just to get as close of a cut as I can without going too crazy, if you know what I mean. Now, I've heard that when it's kind of like a thicker paper, this isn't super thick, but if you spray it with a little bit of water, sometimes that helps it lay flat and you don't get as many bubbles. So I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to lay down my matte Mod Podge where the cow's going to go, and then I'm going to place my cow right on there and smooth it out and try to get rid of any bubbles or, you know, wrinkles. It's kind of funny because when you spray it with water, it seems like it gets a little bit wrinkly, but it also is a little more pliable, if that makes sense, because now it's wet. I'm going to cover it with more Mod Podge and that will help me smooth it out as well. So there will end up being a couple of little wrinkles, but I'm actually okay with it because I think it looks kind of cool. It makes it almost look like like the cow is more three-dimensional in a way. I don't know if that makes sense, but you'll see when it's all done and the Mod Podge dries. I'm going to take some twine. It's a little bit thicker. I get this one at Walmart, and I am just going to put it all the way around the cow. I just wanted to trim it off since it just looks like it was cut, you know, with scissors, which it was. And I like the way that looks. I think that was great. Now I'm going to take some burlap and this really cool ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to make a bow by squishing the middle, you know, just cutting a piece, squishing the middle, and tying it. So it's super simple. I'm not even, you know, shaping a real bow. But I am going to dovetail the ends by folding them in half and cutting towards the farthest edge, which creates like a little inverted triangle. So I'm going to cut the other piece of the ribbon. Don't need to cut the triangle on that one because you wouldn't see it anyway. And I'm just going to put them together, cinch the middle a little bit, and tie it with some twine. I also decided to take a little piece of a buffalo check ribbon and wrap it around the center and create the center of the bow, just hot gluing it on there. I thought that was really pretty, and it kind of goes with that farmhouse look, but it's not overpowering. I'm going to take that ribbon from Dollar Tree, again, cut a couple pieces, and I'm just going to put it like in the background to make this look a little fuller. So I'll take two pieces, tie it with some twine. I'll put that on first, and then I'll hot glue the bow that I made right over it. And it just gives it a little more dimension and fullness. And I love that look. I think those bows together are really cool, very farmhouse. What do you think of this one? I think it just came out gorgeous. I'm absolutely in love with it. It's already up in my kitchen. I'm so happy with it. Let me know what you think. Napkins, a book page, and then this Dollar Tree sign. Now, first thing I'm going to do is separate the plies on the napkin, and I usually put a piece of masking tape on the edge just to make sure I can grab it. Make sure it's 2 or 3 plies, that way you know how many layers to remove. Then I'm just going to iron the fabric, flatten it out, and cut out the book page and get rid of those edges. I'm going to paint the top of the sign white because I want to cover up the butterfly. Even though it's cute, I really don't need it for this particular project. So that's all done. I'm going to leave the sides because they were cute like shiplap, and I'm going to put Mod Podge over the whole thing just to seal it in. Before it dries, I'm going to set the book page right on there, and then I'll cut off the bottom edge so I get the same border around the whole thing. And so while it's wet, I can just easily set down that page and just kind of push it on lightly with my fingers. I didn't want to use the brayer, and I didn't have saran wrap handy to grab to put over the top. Now I'm going to fussy cut out this starfish and then also a seashell that's on the napkin. And once I get them cut off, I'm going to go ahead and, you know, trim around them and make sure it's just those items that you see. You definitely need a sharp pair of scissors to do this, otherwise you could snag the napkin and rip it, because now that you've removed the plies, it is super, super thin. But this is a beautiful napkin and I love it. I'm going to take some antique wax by Waverly and I'm going to go around and dry brush the edges and the sides and a little bit over the top. I just want to give it, you know, a little bit of an older feel, and just putting a little bit on my brush, wiping most of it off and dragging it across. Now I am going to add more Mod Podge to the top because I'm going to be placing those pieces that I cut off. I'm going to take the straight edge sides and put them on the edge so it almost looks like it's going over the edge. And then I'll do the other one up in the corner. And then I'll also put another layer of Mod Podge over the top to seal it in and just make sure that everything's on there. I'm loving this look of the book page with the translucent kind of napkin over it. What a cool look. And it's so perfect for a coastal piece, or any piece actually, as long as you're going for something that's a little bit on the distressed side. I think it looks really, really good. I'm going to take some rope, and I get this particular rope at Walmart because they have the best price, and I'm going to put it all the way around the sides from the top to the bottom just to give it, again, more of that coastal feel. I love the way this turned out. Hey, if you're not already subscribed, I hope you'll do so because I'd love to see you in future videos. Anyway, I love this one. I'm so happy with how it turned out. You will have to let me know what you think. Look how pretty that is, seeing through the napkins to the book pages. Have you ever tried something like this? Let me know. Use the Dollar Tree garden stakes to craft. I love these things. They're so versatile. So here I've got one, and then I've got this like kind of key hanger type thing that I had at home that I wasn't really using anymore, and I think it's just because it's kind of plain. So I'm going to use my tin snips, and I got these on Amazon. They're an awesome tool. I love them. You can cut through so many things with them. Anyway, if you're interested, I usually have all my tools down in my Amazon store. I'm going to start cutting this apart, cutting off the stakes at the bottom until I get just two of the little sections together. And now I'm cutting off the part where they connect to each other, because obviously you can put this around a little garden bed. And so I've trimmed it up, and I'm going to make it even better, but right now I just want to make sure this is going to fit. Now I'm going to take some black zip ties, and I'm going to go ahead and attach this in about 4 different places to make sure it doesn't move at all. And then because it's black, and once I trim off the zip ties, you won't even notice them, and I'll trim them really small. Now here's the thing, I won't tighten this until I know I've got it in position, and then I will go back and tighten it, because if you tighten it and it's not right, it's just a pain. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut off the edges, and I'm going to add 2 more of those zip ties because I want to make sure this is just super, super secure. I think zip ties are a very underrated tool. I love them.
I don't listen, I don't pay no mind to what everyone says.
So there we go. It's nice and secure now. You can see how this is going to look. And I'm just going to snip off those extra pieces. Now you could leave it just like this, and that would probably be just fine. But of course, I'm going to do more. So first thing, I'm going to put a little hanger on the back with some of my rope or twine, and then a little bit of hot glue, and then a very, very small piece of masking tape that you won't even see. I'm going to take some greenery. I got this greenery at Dollar Tree. I'm just going to cut off all the little pieces, and I'm just going to start placing it around those little points that are in that design. And I think that just looks super, super pretty. I didn't want to put the greenery down below where we're going to put things or hang things because it could get in the way. And now I've got these gorgeous purple flowers, and I'm just going to take off little flower petals or buds, whatever, I guess. Actually, just the flowers. I'm going to take them off and put them up on the top. I think this came out beautiful. I love it. Oh my gosh, it's so simple, but it's elegant, and it would go with so many different styles in your home. Let me know what you think. Dollar Tree contact paper hacks. I've got this gorgeous contact paper from the Dollar Tree and this cute little lantern that lights up also from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint the lantern with my plaster chalk paint by Waverly just to give it a nice clean background because we're not going to put the contact paper over the entire thing. So now I'm going to cut out a piece of the contact paper that will fit in the sections where I want it to go. So I'm going to try to cut it as close as possible and then adhere it. I'm going to fold it in there so I can get a nice line and know exactly where to make the cut. So once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and cut out that piece. And that gets me very close to the size that I need. And then I'm going to cut a second one so that I have more to use for this project. I'm going to remove the backing since it's such a small piece, and I'm going to go ahead and just put that on there, and I'm going to be wrapping it around. Now, it wouldn't make it quite all the way around, which is why I had to do 2 pieces, but I'm going to lay it as flat as possible, and then I'm going to take a sanding sponge, and I'm just going to cut off the edge by sanding around and getting a nice clean edge and just kind of going in a downward motion. Now, I didn't want to overlap. That's why I'm removing that excess right there. And then I'll take the other piece and start at a clean edge again. And then that way each of the edges will look nice and clean. So there we go, laying down the second piece there and smoothing it out. And then using the sandpaper to go ahead around the edges and get rid of the excess. So now you see it's on 3 sides, and I did sand on every one of those corners so it looks like they're all separate pieces. Now I'm going to use my Agave chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm going to paint the very top, and then I end up painting the front as well because I love this color so much. So I'm still glad I put the white down because that way you don't see the wood through the contact paper, and it makes the agave pop even more when you do that. So I'm going to also do the front. And I left a little white on the top as an accent. So cute, I love it. Now I'm going to take some Mod Podge and I'm just going to go over the whole thing. I'm going to take some greenery, and these are just some leftover pics that I have probably from Dollar Tree. That's what I usually have. And I'm just going to put them on the inside just to give it a little more interest, which I think will be very pretty. And then, of course, it's got that light on the inside, which is going to be so cute. I love little light up things. Just makes them so versatile. So it's got a little tab in there. You pull it out, and then you twist the light on. And there you can see it. It's pretty light on my table, so you'll see it better in one of the pictures. Hopefully I got rid of some of the extra light. But there it is, all finished. I think it's adorable. I love these small little pieces for tier trays or for shelves. Just nice. I have a very small space I live, so I don't want to have too many things all over the place. What do you think of this one? % off Hobby Lobby special piece. I got this piece for $4.49, I think it was. Oh my gosh, I think it was like $20 to begin with. And it's beautiful just as it is. Honestly, if you bought this, you could just leave it just like this. It says, we gather here. There'd be no reason not to just keep it. But of course, I painted that inner portion of this cutting board black. Now I'm going to put Mod Podge all across it to seal it. I am going to draw like a beehive shape, but like where the top is almost open like a vase. So I'm going to take my rope, twine, whatever you want to call it. Like I said, sometimes when it's in between size, I'm not sure which one it is. But either way, I'm going to go ahead and start hot gluing all the way around the shape that I drew. And I did draw that circle toward the bottom of the inside of it, which is like the opening of the beehive. But this is going to be like a beehive vase. So we're going to go ahead and glue and just keep going around and around until we fill the whole thing except the circle with this twine or rope. And I'm just going to keep going until I have to cut off pieces that are a certain size that will fit. And you can see here, now I'm going to go ahead and close off that circle because I'm not going to be able to keep going around. I've already hit the bottom of it. And so now I'll just keep going back and forth until I fill in the rest of it. Super easy. You just keep gluing and, adding your larger twine. And then I just cut off some of the edges because I didn't want to keep going around in a circle in this case. So now I'm going to fill in the rest of it. Hey, Bestie, thank you so much for being here. It's so nice to have you, and it's so great to read your comments. I don't always get to them immediately, but I promise I will get to every single one of them. I love responding to you. I love hearing what you say, and I love when you interact with each other and pray for each other and just are there as a community for each other. Honestly, You are awesome, and I really appreciate and love each and every one of you. Now that I've got this filled in, I'm going to add some sunflowers. I've cut them down to the size I want, and I'm just going to put them in at different heights. So I've got some yellow ones, I've got white ones, and I'm just going to continue to add these in until it looks like this beehive is a vase full of sunflowers. And I just think it's so beautiful. I'm going to add a little twine or rope hanger to the top, doing a lark's head knot to attach it. And then I'll just add a little knot at the top. Very easy way to make a hanger and give it that kind of rustic farmhouse look. And now I'm just going to draw 2 little bees. Now this was super easy. I took my maize chalk paint and I made 2 little almond shapes, or actually I did 3 little almond shapes. Then I took a black marker and I did little heads on them coming into the almond shape. And I know you can hardly see that because there's black in the background, but it does kind of work out in the end. Now I'm going to draw the little lines across the bee bodies on all 3 of them. Then I'm going to take a little bit of white paint on a very fine art brush and just dab it to make wings on each side of the little bees. Now tell me, they are not the cutest little bees. Oh my gosh. Now once it dried, I put Mod Podge over it to seal it. And that's it. I think this is so cute. If you had little bee stickers, you could do that instead. I just thought I'm going to paint these. I bet this would be really easy to do. Anyway, please let me know what you think. I really do love this one. We're going to start off with. Oh my gosh, I love these. They're so pretty. And I've got this styrofoam pumpkin that I used many years ago, and I decided it's time to repurpose it. I'm going to use my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. I'm going to paint the entire thing. And it really does a good job at one coat because I'm just going to put napkin over it, so I don't need to make it any thicker than that. So I'm going to open up the napkin, and then my little trick, take a piece of masking tape and put it on the back and then just pull apart the 2 plies. If it's a 3-ply, you do it again. Now I'm going to cut the napkin into smaller strips. It'll just be easier for Mod Podging to go ahead, or decoupaging, I should say. I always say Mod Podging by mistake. Do you do that too? Anyway, I'm going to add some Mod Podge and little by little start covering the entire pumpkin. Now I'm not going to do the top of it just yet, just the underside. So you'll see what I mean. I'm going to smooth that down and then try to get it to stay down on the bottom, cut off the excess piece, and then go again from the very whole of the pumpkin, and then coming around the other side, and then just go as far as I can. And whenever I run out, and I'll add some more afterwards. So I'm just kind of pushing it down, but I'm going to be holding this, so I don't want to add the Mod Podge on top yet. That's what I meant by putting it on the underside. So I'm just going to continue adding strips until I get the entire pumpkin covered. Of course, you see here I had it stick a little bit. You just gently pull it up and then straighten it out. It's okay if it gets a little wrinkly because there are those little, I guess, kind of divots in the pumpkin itself, which make it hard to lay perfectly flat. Now I am going to put some on the bottom so that it just lays down while I'm working with it right there. But then I'll come back and do the Mod Podge over the top of the whole thing. I just want those edges to lay down when I add the next piece. Here we go. I'm going to start working on the next section. And you can see I still have a ways to go, and I'll do that off camera. There we go. So now I've done the whole thing, and I even put Mod Podge over the top, and it's dried. I'm going to take some little plastic shopping bags, you know, we've all got those sitting around, and fill up most of the pumpkin, and then I'm going to add some Spanish moss just to add that cute little look of, you know, fall. And I've got this gorgeous fall pick, and I honestly can't remember if I got it at Dollar Tree or Walmart maybe. I don't know. Anyway, they've got them all over the place. Super cute. I've got a pitberry garland. I'm just going to wrap it around my finger a couple times and snip it off, and that becomes the pumpkin tendrils, which I will hot glue directly to the sides of where that floral pick is. I love how easy this is. I mean, even doing the decoupaging is so easy, and that little plaid napkin is the cutest. Oh my gosh, I was so excited when I found them. Have you seen those at Dollar Tree? Anyway, here is the finished piece. I really, really love this one. You'll have to let me know what you think. It might be my favorite from today. This first project with the Dollar Tree pumpkins, it's going to be a 3-in-1. So you could do 3 separate DIYs, or you could combine them all into one, which is what I'm going to do. So I've got the jack-o'-lantern, the thankful pumpkin, and then the layered pumpkin. I've also got this really pretty silver tile that they sell at Dollar Tree. That's like a sticker back. So the first thing we're going to do is get rid of the sticker part, because that will not work with this. Once you cut into one of these tiles, it just doesn't work because it separates. So I'm going to cut off 2 of the sides so that I can get a hold of it. And then I'm just going to literally tear off that sticky part. We literally don't need it. Now I'm going to take a little spatula and I'm going to gently pull off that leaf and the acorn, because I want to save those and use those for another project later. I'm also going to get rid of the thankful word, which I wasn't trying to keep because it's a little bit thin. So I just took it off and made sure there was nothing rough left on there. I'm going to take the pumpkin shape, I'm going to turn it over the backside of the tile and trace around it. And then I'm just going to cut it out, and it cuts very easily with regular scissors, no problem. I love making multi-purpose crafts, like 2-sided or 3 parts or 2 parts or whatever, because you just have, it's so fun and you get to do different things. So now that I've got the pumpkin shape cut out, I'm just going to hot glue that piece right on there. I'm going to start at the top because I don't want to misplace it when I set it down and then not be able to move it. So I'll just carefully put the very top part on, and then I'll lift back that tile piece and I'll start doing another section and then a third section till I have the entire piece literally glued right on to the wood. Very easy to do. By the way, you don't have to use hot glue. You could use any glue you want, but I like it to dry very quickly. Now I'm just going to take my scissors and trim around any excess on the sides that might have hung over. And if it's around the stem, you might just need to use a little X-Acto knife. I'm going to take my plaster chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm just going to paint over the tile, and it's just going to look so pretty like this. You'll see when I'm done. You could pick any color actually that you want. Then I'm going to take my antique wax and I'm going to dry brush, so put a little bit on my brush, wipe most of it off and drag it across. And then those raised parts really stand out, and this gives it such a cool kind of antique look. And I'm going to darken the stem. And honestly, you don't have to do that because you're not going to see the stem if you do it as a 3-part DIY. But if it's a solo DIY, you would want to do that stem darker. I'm also going to go around the edges with a stiff brush and just kind of distress that with the antique wax. I love that look, especially on that old-fashioned looking tile. It looks like those tin tiles that you used to see on ceilings back in the day, or if you go any older buildings, especially when you're traveling around Europe, whatever, you see that all the time, and I just love that. And there I am, just making that stem a little bit darker. Now I'm going to embellish all of them after I put them together. Now we'll move on to the second piece. So I've got the jack-o'-lantern. I'm going to go ahead and remove the tag and the hanger. So I'm going to take my pumpkin colored Waverly paint, which is orange. I'm just going to paint that whole pumpkin except the stem and the eyes, nose, and mouth. Very, very easy. Now, once that's done, I'm going to take my ink colored chalk paint by Waverly. I'm going to do the nose, eyes, and mouth. This is just a traditional looking jack-o'-lantern. It's just fun painting. I enjoy that. Now I'm going to take that third pumpkin with the layers. I'm going to take off the tag and the hanger, and I'm going to pry off that little bow. It's just hot glued on there, so you can either heat it up or just kind of shove it off with a spatula. And I'm going to paint that whole pumpkin with the plaster color because that's what I want it to peek through with what I'm doing to it. Got this pretty mesh decor from Dollar Tree. It's like a ribbon. I'm going to cut 3 pieces because I want this to look a little bit darker orange than what it looks like when there's only one. So now you can see why I painted it with the plaster color, because I wanted you to see the true color of that mesh. So I've cut out the shape of that middle layer that it's got, and I'm going to cut 2 more pieces because when there's 3 of them, it just really picks up that orange color. So now I'm going to lay down some Mod Podge on that center section, and I'm going to put each piece down, add more Mod Podge on the top until I get all 3 pieces adhered right on the top. I love doing all these different and unique things on the pumpkins. It's so much fun. It's like you can try all different styles, all different looks, use up your craft stash, whatever you want. And then there's the last piece, and now you can see how much deeper that color looks. I really, really like it. Hey, Bestie, if you are watching but you're not subscribed yet, I would invite you to do so. It would be such a pleasure to have you here. Now I've got this other mesh ribbon and it's got gorgeous kind of gold leaves on it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some Mod Podge down, and I cut a piece that's bigger than the width of the pumpkin. I'm just going to lay it across the center. I love the way that looks. I think it's so pretty with the gold leaves over that. And then we'll turn it over, we'll hot glue it down, and then just so it doesn't start to like fray on the ends, I'm going to put a little bit of masking tape. That kind of ribbon frays very quickly and easily, so that's why I'm doing that. I'm going to add a little more Mod Podge to the top and just try to make sure that that's going to lay flat. I'm going to take my antique wax and I'm just going to paint on the pumpkin stem. This is going to be the top pumpkin in our bigger piece, so you will see that. So now we can start embellishing. So we'll start with the top piece, and I'm going to put these pretty little yellow and green leaves. I'm going to add some other green leaves. I'm going to put a gorgeous little sunflower right in the center there, taking off the extra stems because you won't see them and it just makes it stand up too tall. I'm going to take some pip berries and make some tendrils, wrap them around my fingers, hot glue them up on top there by the leaves. I think that's going to look so pretty. You could embellish this any way you want. Just get creative, use up your stash. That's what I like to do, is just find things I have and get creative, and just it frees up space in my craft room too, which I really like, so I can buy new things. I'm going to add some more leaves, just different colored leaves on there. And then I've got like a little, I think it's a cattail. I call everything that I'm not sure a cattail, if you haven't noticed. And then I'm going to add a hanger because this is the top one. And if we want to add this larger piece, I want to make sure there's a hanger on there. And I'm going to add a little hot glue just to make sure that hanger's on there solid. Now let's take our jack-o'-lantern. We'll put that pretty top pumpkin on, put some hot glue. You could also use wood glue if you want to do that. I'm going to secure it on the back, so I'm not too worried about it. And I'm just going to put that one on there. I'm going to add some more hot glue on the back. And then we're going to move on to embellishing in between those two pumpkins. So I'm going to use different leaves for this. These are a darker green, but I thought it looked really pretty next to the orange there. It has a nice little divider between the two pumpkins. I've got some brown and orange sparkly berries I'm going to put there, and then some orange leaves. You know, whatever you've got, literally, just pull it out and see if it looks good. And if it does, add it and just have fun with it. That's the important thing, is enjoy what you're doing. It's a great creative outlet. Now we're going to take the tile pumpkin. We're going to glue that one underneath the bottom of the jack-o'-lantern. Again, I'm using hot glue right now because we're going to reinforce more on the bottom or on the back. Then I'm going to take these gorgeous kind of brownish leaves, and I'm going to put them, because this was a distressed piece anyway, so I thought those leaves looked better there. And I'm going to add a few pine cones and some more of those little pip berries wrapped around just to give it a little more texture. And then I'll glue those down as well. I'm loving how this stacked piece looks. So you can see how it's 3 DIYs, and then I made them all into one by assembling them. So I'm really enjoying this piece, and I love the different look of each pumpkin. You could just have so much fun with that. I'm going to add some more, again, I'll call them cattails. You guys know I don't know what these things are called. Anyway, they're on there. So there's the front. Doesn't that look so pretty? Now we're going to turn it over. I've got some scrap little pieces of MDF or wood, and I'm just going to hot glue them between the seams of each of the pumpkins and give it more stability, especially because it'll be standing up. And if it knocks over in the wind or whatever, you know, I want to make sure that this is going to be stable. I'm going to have this outside by my front porch. And of course, at the end, you won't see it, but off camera, I do spray it with some clear glaze just to seal it in and make sure it's nice for outside. I've got some craft paper we are going to finish off the back because there's so much going on back there that doesn't look pretty. So we're going to go ahead and start at the very bottom. We'll hot glue in sections all the way around these 3 pumpkins with that one large piece of craft paper. And once we get them all on there, off camera, I'm just going to take a blade on a cutting mat. I'm just going to cut off the excess so you won't see it from the front, but the back will be nice and clean and pretty. And I can't wait for you to see the finished piece. It came out so beautiful. I love this one. You have to let me know if this is something that you might want to try. So there's the bottom pumpkin first. I wanted to show you a quick close-up of that. Then we're going to move on to the jack-o'-lantern. And of course, we all know what that looks like, but there it is. And then we're going to look at that top pumpkin, which I think is just gorgeous. It's like we've got a glam, a fun, and a kind of distressed antique look. And now here they are all together. I love this piece. It's so cute. If you wanted to add a little stand, you could. I'm just leaning it, so I'm going to consider this a leaner. And there it is on my porch with some other pieces. I hope you like it. Let me know what you think. got a Dollar Tree canvas. Doesn't matter which one you pick. I've got a gift bag, also from Dollar Tree, and a microfiber cloth that I also got at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to trace on my gift bag the outside of the canvas so I can cut out the picture that I want to use. Now, don't worry about the words and how they're going to get cut off. You won't even see that part when we are all finished with this. I love this gift bag. What a beautiful picture it has on it. Now I'm going to take some foam board and I'm also going to cut out and trace that shape as well. You could use cardboard if you want. I decided to use foam board. I think in the future I will use cardboard because you don't have to deal with that foamy edge. So now the first thing I'm going to do is just put on a strip of the Mod Podge and I'm going to start centering the picture right on there. And then I use my brayer to make sure it's adhered, and then I will finish the rest of it with the Mod Podge and the brayer. I'll turn it over and trim off the excess. Now I'm going to take a beautiful piece of scrapbook paper and trace out that same shape using the canvas. I will cut that out. One of the fun things about this project is you get to mix and match colors of scrapbook paper or fabric, whatever you want. So on the very inside on the back, I'm going to cut out a piece of that microfiber cloth and I will attach it on the inside with some Mod Podge. It's okay if it goes up around the edges because you're not going to see that part at all. Now, also, you could use hot glue for this one because it's fabric. It just dries faster and you don't have to worry about anything popping up. I did do it with the Mod Podge and it worked out fine, and I used my brayer to make sure that it was really, really adhered on there. Now I'm going to turn over the canvas and I'm going to attach that piece of scrapbook paper I cut out. Now it's thick scrapbook paper, so I didn't have to paint the front of the canvas. You won't see the design that's underneath at all. So now that that is attached, I'm going to take some fern paint, which is basically green, and I'm just going to paint around the edges. I thought that was way easier than trying to fold the paper around. I'm going to take a screwdriver and I'm just going to punch a bunch of holes in my picture through the foam board because I'm going to add some fairy lights pushing through from the back to the front and make it look like there's Christmas lights on the trees, some of the trees anyway. And I am so excited about this because I've done this before with a different project and I love the way it turns out. So it's fun. You turn the lights on while you're doing it, glue the battery pack on the back, and then I just put a little tape for that one end part. And look how pretty that is. Oh my gosh. Now I'm going to take a blade and I'm going to cut a crisscross through the canvas, and then I'm going to take some scissors and I'm going to cut in each of those squares, kind of like making it like pie pieces. And on this one I had to use scissors because of the fabric was so thick it was easier than using the blade. I'm going to cut out a little notch so that the hanger that was already on the canvas shows through so I don't have to add another hanger. And I just did that on the front and the back. Now I'm going to hot glue this picture on the foam board face down into the back of the canvas. So now we're going to turn it over and we're going to take each of those pieces and we're going to curl them around and hot glue them down. And this is what creates our busted canvas look. So it looks like the picture on the inside is kind of busting through. And I love using that microfiber cloth because it gives that feeling of snow. And I thought this just turned out so beautiful. Oh my gosh. And there's so many ways you can do this, which I will also show you in other projects here. Look how easy this was to do. It's several steps, but they're all easy steps. It's not complicated. It just looks like it is when you see the end result. And I am absolutely in love with this one. I think it is so cute. Here's what it looks like before you turn the lights on, and then I'll show it to you in the dark with the lights on. Let me know what you think. This large wooden S at the Goodwill, and it was only $3. It's a very good size, and our last name starts with S, so I thought this was perfect. So I've also got this metal sign for the fall from Dollar Tree. Isn't it cute with the little pumpkin patch? And then I've got Waverly chalk paint in pumpkin and plaster. So first, to cover the red, I'm going to paint the whole thing in the plaster, front and back. There we go. And I'm just doing that because otherwise the lighter color would blend with that red and it just wouldn't look right. So now we're going to do the pumpkin over the top, and I'm going to almost pretend like it's a stain. So I'm going to paint a little bit on and then wipe it. So I don't want it like super, super orange. I just want it to be that nice soft orange. And I'll do that over the entire just top of this. Then I'm going to take the pumpkin patch sign. I'm going to cut off the tag and remove the hanger because we're not going to hang it traditionally. We're going to put it on the middle of the S with some hot glue. And you can always use a stronger glue, which I usually go back and add some more after the fact. A lot of times I just want to make the video quickly for you guys so you can see how to do it. But be sure to use the proper glue for where you're going to put this piece. And it's very light. So in this case, the hot glue is actually going to hold really well. I'm also going to reinforce on the back. Now I'm going to add some greenery and flowers, just whatever I like that I think looks pretty with this little pumpkin patch sign. I just want to dress this up. I'm picturing this on my front door. I think it would be so beautiful with all the colors. And think about all the gorgeous fall colors that are out there. Now, we don't all get them everywhere that we live, but when you're in the prime, like let's say on the East Coast, I mean, there's purple in there, there's blues, there's everything you can imagine. I've taken a trip up and down the coast there in October one year, and it's breathtaking. If you haven't done it, I highly recommend it. Anyway, I'm just going to keep dressing this up until it's the way I like it and you do it the way you like it. I know I've said it before, but this is just the best group of people who watch. My besties here, you are all so wonderful. I love your comments. I love the way you interact with each other or answer a question if I haven't gotten to it yet. I think it's awesome, and I love your tips and ideas. Even when you tell me that you might do something different, I think it's great to hear what somebody else might imagine. So I just want to say thank you. I really think we are the best of the best here on YouTube, and I could not be more grateful and thankful for you. And listen, if you enjoy it as much as it seems like you do, if you have the opportunity to share my videos, it really helps my channel to grow, and I would really appreciate it. And for sure, subscribe if you're not. I think this one is just turned out so gorgeous, and that's all I'm going to do to it is just add those flowers and the greenery, and this is it. Isn't it stunning? I mean, I think so. Let me know what you think. Take 9 of the Jenga blocks and this Hello Autumn sign. Now they have those at the Dollar Tree and they don't have to look like this because we're going to cover it up anyway. So I'm going to take some burnt umber, it's acrylic paint, and I'm just going to cover it up with the brown, and that's just going to be our base. And I'm doing that because I want this to look a little bit like wood grain, and we're going to do this technique where you paint it brown like this and then go all in one direction with the brush, and then with a messy kind of chippy brush, I go over it with the white in one direction, and it kind of looks like wood. So now we're going to take the 9 Jenga blocks and we're going to paint them all with this burnt umber color as well. These are going to be little reindeer, actually Santa's reindeer. We'll wipe back the paint so it looks more like stain, and we'll do that on both sides of them and the back. I'm going to take a white chalk marker and I'm going to draw little eyes on all of them. Now I'm going to take a little black marker. I'm going to paint some little circles in the eyes just to kind of give them a little more dimension. I needed to switch markers because the one I had wasn't that good. And I'm just going to make like little spots on top of the eyes, like little eyebrows kind of. And then I'll do a big black nose on all of them except one, which I'm going to do red. And that's Rudolph. And then I'll use the white marker and make little smiles on all of them too. I decided not to make them all look different. And then I added a little kind of an upside down C on the top of the nose just to make it look like it had a little shine to them. I'm going to take some pipe cleaners. I'm going to bend them a piece in half, a small piece, and I'm going to hot glue that to the very top of each of these Jenga blocks, or now reindeer. And we're going to start making some little antlers with them. They don't all have to be identical. And then I'm just going to cut 2 little pieces and add them on to the sides to give that antler, a little bit more of a antler look, if you will. And just kind of snip it till it looks right. And I do that to all 9 of the reindeer. I'm going to hot glue them about 3/4 of the way on the little board and then let the top part of the head kind of hang off there. Originally, I thought about writing all their names, but there really wasn't a lot of room, and it would have been so small that I almost thought it wasn't worth it. And I think with Rudolph in the middle, you get the idea. So the way I centered them was I did one in the middle, which was Rudolph, one on each end, and then started going between each one to make sure they were evenly spaced. That's usually the easiest way I find to center things on a surface. Instead of getting out a ruler and measuring, it just eyeballing it that way actually works really well. And you can see not all the antlers are identical. I did that on purpose. Added some greenery to the bottom like a swag, and those are greenery pieces I get from Amazon. And then I put some red berries and a couple of really pretty gold sprayed little mini pine cones that were on a garland I had. And then I went and put some of that brown paint over the top where I glued the antlers to cover up the hot glue. And that way you don't notice it. And I think this turned out so cute. It already has a hanger built into the back. And what an easy, fun craft. This would be so fun to do with the kids or grandkids. Let me know what you think. These 3 very large baubles at Dollar Tree in gold, silver, and red. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have an idea. And then I've got these 3 crates also and some antique wax paint. So first of all, we're going to go ahead and stain all 3 of the crates, which I did off camera. Then we're going to take fix-all adhesive and hot glue and attach them together side by side, or end to end, I should say. Now, if you wanted to, you could paint these a color. I just decided that the contrast between the stain and the bright colors of the ornaments would really look nice. I'm going to take a little spatula and just pry off the top of each ornament. And then I'm going to hot glue around that opening and turn that little top upside down. And now we've created a candle holder, and it fit perfect for the taper candles that the Dollar Tree had. I'm going to use a combination of the fix-all adhesive and hot glue, and I'm going to attach each one of these baubles to the center of each of these little boxes. And actually, with the combination of the glues, it holds really, really well. And now what we have is a beautiful candelabra centerpiece. I'm going to take some greenery that's, Christmassy, wintry, and these particular evergreen picks I got on Amazon. I really like them because it's such a good deal and they're really good quality. You can always find these links in my Amazon store. There's a link in my description box if it's something you're interested in. And I'm just going to add them kind of like a swag going in opposite directions towards the middle. Then I've got this piece that came off of another ornament that I didn't use this part of it, and I'm just going to add that right to the center there, and it was just the perfect piece to cover up where they met, and it added just that extra little touch. I've also got these really pretty gold berries that were part of a Dollar Tree pick, and I'm just going to put a little bunch of them on either side of the center there, just to add, again, a little more flair, color, just for fun. I recently found these really pretty silvery picks at the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to pull off some little pieces and add those. That way we now have red, gold, and silver in that little center area as well, which ties all the colors together on this particular piece. And I'm really loving it. And of course, you can pick any color baubles you want, decorate it any way you want. This was just what my vision was, and it's meant entirely for inspiration. Now I'm going to turn it to the back side, and I'm going to add some more of those greenery picks because I want this to be pretty on both sides. I'm imagining if this was a centerpiece on a table, you would be looking at it from both sides. I also have these little pine picks that I got from Amazon, and they're smaller and they're great for little fillers. So I'm going to fill these around the empty spaces and on the 2 ends just to kind of complete the look. And I feel like this just added so much to it. It's so pretty and festive. Another cute thing would be to add little baubles all around them too, just for a little more glam, I guess. Now I'm going to hot glue the base of the candles in there. I want to make sure they stay and they don't fall over. It was a tight fit, but I want to make sure they stayed really nicely. Anyway, that's it for this one. I think it turned out stunning. It looks like such a high-end piece, and it was so easy to make. Let me know what you think. Love this window cling set from Walmart. I'm going to use Merry Christmas and the part with the truck and Santa and the reindeer. I found this cute little metal mason jar at the Goodwill, and it was literally $3.99, and I think that's a great deal because it's a very big piece. We're going to take off the rope hanger and then the decorative rope that's on there as well. Now I'm going to take some rubbing alcohol and I'm just going to clean it off because, things at the thrift store get really dirty. So I just like to do that. Plus the paint will go on much nicer. We're going to use the Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, and I'm going to cover the whole thing. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to make it look distressed with this ink chalk paint from Waverly. I'm just going to go around the edges and then kind of go wherever that metal, the corrugated part is. I'm just going to kind of wipe it on there as well. There you go, just to give it a little bit more of a distressed look, which I think looks really cute for this. I'm going to take some Mod Podge and I'm going to put it down first before I add the window clings, just because this isn't glass, and so I just like to make sure it's going to stay really, really well. I'm going to take off the words Merry and Christmas and just position them. I'm going to leave room at the top because we will embellish that in just a little bit. And very carefully, I'll just start in the middle of it and I'll rub down and just kind of make sure I don't get any bubbles or anything like that. And just reposition as needed until it's laying just the way I want. Now I'm going to add Mod Podge on the rest of this piece, and I'm going to pull off that truck with Santa, a reindeer, and the Christmas tree. And I'm just going to stick that, towards the bottom. And I'll do it exactly the same way. And now I've got these cute little snowflakes that were on here, and I'm just going to fill in kind of the areas in between because I just think that looks so cute. It gives the impression of like that it's snowing, and I thought that was awesome. I can't believe how easy this is. A couple pieces of the cling kind of hung over the edge, so I just used a sanding sponge and in a downward motion very carefully sanded off those little pieces. Now I'm going to cover the whole thing with some more Mod Podge just to make sure it's sealed in there really nice. I'm going to cut up some greenery picks. I think they're evergreens that I got from Amazon. Great deal. And then first, though, I'm going to add back the hanger. And I'm just going to pull it from the back, make the big knot. I'm going to hot glue the knot down because I like to make sure it stays in place. And I'll do that to both sides of it. Now we'll take those greenery picks and we'll just create like a swag. So whatever I do on one side, I'll do on the other, and I'll just hot glue them down. And I kind of want the little knots to still show, so I'm going to kind of work around that by cutting off a little bit of the greenery pick so it doesn't block it. You'll see what I'm doing here. Now I'm just going to fill in a little bit more at the top with the pieces that we didn't use. I'm going to take this beautiful poinsettia from a pick that I got, and I'm just going to add the leaves first, and then I'm going to put the flower right in the middle. I just think that is so beautiful, and I love the pop of color that it adds. Now I'm going to take these sparkly greenery picks from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to put some on each side here and just adding, that little bit of sparkle to it, which makes it feel so Christmassy and fun for the holidays. And I love it. I think this piece might be my favorite in today's video. Let me know what you think. I just love how it turned out. Gorgeous Christmas ornaments. I've got the tree, and then I've got some snowmen, and then I've got this little shelf that I found at the Target dollar spot several years ago, and I thought it was a great deal. It was only $3. I've also got some of the microfiber cloth from Dollar Tree. I'm going to pull off that little top part of the snowman's head with my nippers, but I'm going to leave the one on the Christmas tree. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to hot glue that microfiber cloth on there. Now mine wasn't big enough, so I had to piece it together, but if you have a bigger piece, obviously that would look nicer. And of course, I went to Dollar Tree after I made this and found some. Oh well, that's how that goes, right? Anyway, I'm going to make this work. I'm just going to glue it down and, like I said, fill in the gaps with some other pieces that I have. I'm going to trim around the edges and just make sure that everything is on there securely. I'm going to have things sitting on there so you won't even notice that little seam. Now I'm going to take that Christmas tree and I'm going to put it towards the back center, and I'm going to glue underneath and on the back to secure it, and then I'm going to put a little bit of glue right behind that hanger on the top of it because it does touch the metal there. Now I'm going to put a lot of glue on my snowman. I'm just going to attach that one to one side and the second one to the other side. Now I do have some of these bottle brush Christmas trees in my stash. I can't remember where I got them, but they're super cute. They have little wooden bases, and I'm going to add 3 of them. You could use any of these kind of trees. Dollar Tree definitely has them. Now I'm going to add some gold pine cones. They were on a garland. I just cut them off, and I thought the gold looked really nice with the gold on the metal. It's not an exact match, but I think it looks really cute. And then I'm going to add some greenery just across the front. These are some picks from leftover Dollar Tree Christmas picks. And I'm just going to add a couple different ones to the front just to give it a nice little festive look and feel. I'm also going to add this one little branch that has like little icicles on it. Again, just to give it that wintry, Christmas look. Anything I had in my stash, I'm always trying to use things up. And then I've got these cute little gold sparkly berries, and I'm just going to put them in random places kind of across the front just to add more of that sparkle. And since this has both silver and gold, I thought that would be a nice way to add a little bit more of the silver. This was such an easy piece to put together. I mean, seriously, it's mostly just gluing things and just arranging them the way you like them. So you could take anything that you had at home to put on a little shelf like this and just turn it into something beautiful. You'll have to let me know what you think. Dollar Tree had these really cute ornaments. They were like 2 little tags and they had words on them. And then there was 3 different kinds. I wish they had had 4 different kinds, but I could only find 3. So I had to repeat one. And then I've also got this little wood slice that was left over from an ornament I made a long time ago. And then this is another set of ornaments that I had. And this is also from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to use that snowflake. I'm going to take these 4 tags and I'm just going to try arranging them because we're going to create a little wreath out of this. So I'm just kind of playing with the order and how I want them to look. And then I will eventually turn it over because we need to attach them to each other and to the little wood slice we're going to put right in the center. I'm just making sure the words are the direction I wanted them to be. Now I'm going to take that wood slice, I'm going to lay it face forward, and I'm going to set it in the center and then kind of line up these little groups of 2 tags. I've got some craft sticks. These just happen to be colored, doesn't really matter, but I wanted to use them up. And so I'm going to use generous amount of hot glue, and I'm going to put a craft stick for every single tag. Even though they're attached to each other, I wanted more stability for this wreath. So I'll go all the way around and do that. And you can use any kind of glue you want. The hot glue seemed to hold up really well, so I thought that would be fine. Now I'm just going to turn it over and look and see what I think about it. And I'm going to take that snowflake and I'm going to just put glue all around the back and I'm going to set it right in the center. And I just thought that really tied this whole thing together because there's a lot of wood and I wanted to have different textures and colors. Now I'm just going to take a handle from a gift bag that I had left over and I'm going to hot glue it on, and that's going to become our hanger. And of course I added some masking tape to secure it. Now that's going to be covered when we're all done. I've got these evergreen picks from Amazon, such a great deal there. And I always have them in my Amazon store if you are interested. I'm just going to dry fit them right now to see how many I need and what it's going to look like. And I decided that 2 of these picks each was perfect. I'm going to turn my wreath over and then we are going to hot glue these picks. First, I'm just going to trim the ends a teeny bit. They were a little long for what I needed, so you can see the difference there. Now that I've got them trimmed, I'm going to glue the 2 in each little gap there and just kind of hold it so they stay right where I want them and then move on to the next one. And I'll do that at all 4 of the intersections. And then I cut a circle out of that little bit of microfiber cloth that I had left, and I'm just going to cover all of that ugliness on the back where all the points are, and that just makes it look much better. I think this one is gorgeous. I mean, it actually looks like it's store-bought, not homemade. I really liked it. It's amazing what you can do with some of these Dollar Tree ornaments. I love them. So what do you think about this one? Ready for more inspiration? Here's another video I think you'll really like. If you click on it, I will see you there. You are truly a blessing to me. Bye!